Previously on River Heights Mysteries.
They're headed to the basement. We'll take the stairs.
I'll take the painting and the artist.
Patent leather. Much too shiny for a common thief. He's a professional, dear. A very dangerous professional.
Chapter 6. A Village Parallel. The garage was silent, save for the low thrum of a distant foghorn from the Hudson River. The man in the tuxedo, whose patent leather shoes glinted under the harsh industrial lights, kept his revolver steady. Julian Vane and the man in the beret froze, the brown paper-wrapped canvas held between them like a shield. "Easy now," the tuxedoed man said, his voice as smooth as polished stone. "I'm not interested in the artist's life, only his work. Hand over the midnight and we can all go home to our nightcaps." Nancy felt the tension in the room vibrating. She looked at Miss Marple, expecting to see terror. Instead, Jane Marple was calmly adjusting her shawl, her expression more pensive than panicked. "You know, Nancy," Miss Marple whispered, her voice surprisingly clear in the stillness, "this reminds me so very much of poor Mr. Spiffins back in St. Mary Mead. He was the local fishmonger, a very upright man, or so we thought. But one autumn, a particularly fine salmon went missing from the colonel's private pond. Everyone accused the local poachers, of course." The man in the tuxedo blinked. His eyes darted toward the elderly woman in the shadows. "What are you talking about, old lady? Be quiet." Miss Marple ignored him, continuing with a pleasant nod. "The poachers were the obvious choice, you see, but I noticed that Mr. Spiffins had started selling a very expensive line of imported trout that looked remarkably like salmon if you didn't check the scales. He hadn't stolen the fish at all. He had merely provided the storage, while the colonel's own gardener moved it. It was a partnership of convenience, born of a very specific kind of greed." Nancy's mind raced, connecting the dots. "Storage? A partnership? You're saying Julian Vane didn't steal his own painting for insurance. He stole it to hide the fact that it was already gone." The man in the beret let out a harsh laugh. "The girl's sharper than you, Vane." "Shut up," Julian Vane snapped, his face contorting. "It was supposed to be a simple switch. I couldn't let Sterling see the original, not after I'd already promised it to a buyer in Paris." The marrow in the portfolio, Nancy realized. The painting Sterling brought on the Queen Mary wasn't the masterpiece. It was a decoy. The real Midnight on Manhattan never left London. The tuxedoed man's aim wavered for a split second, surprised by the revelation. "So, Vane, you're telling me I'm holding up a garage for a second-rate copy of a forgery?" "Precisely," Miss Marple added, stepping out from behind the stack of frames. "And the man who actually has the original is the one who was most nervous about its safety on the ship. Mr. Sterling isn't the victim, he's the middleman. He's the gardener in our little village parallel." The garage door behind them suddenly groaned, sliding upward as a black sedan roared in, its headlights blinding the group. In the chaos of the light, Nancy saw her opening. She grabbed a heavy wooden crate hook from the wall and swung it at a nearby fire extinguisher. A cloud of white chemical spray erupted, filling the garage with a choking mist. "This way!" Nancy cried, grabbing Miss Marple's hand. They dove through the small pedestrian exit into the cold Manhattan night just as a shot rang out, the bullet whining off a concrete pillar. They found themselves in a narrow, trash-strewn alley behind Fifth Avenue. "We have to get to the docks," Nancy panted, her heart hammering. "If Sterling has the real painting, he won't be at the hotel. He'll be trying to get it out of the country before the NYPD starts checking the cargo manifests." Miss Marple straightened her hat, unfazed by the gunfire.
Pier 90, I suspect. It's where the imported trout always seems to end up. But first, Nancy, we must find a telephone. I believe your father's friends in the FBI might find this village matter quite interesting.